Today we're talking about creating calm at home, and I've got Karen here with me to help me create some of that calm. And Karen, where do we start with this? Because our houses can be busy, they can be full of clutter, high traffic. So where do we start with creating that?
Yeah, well, it's really important to have a very good foundation, I think. And you don't want too much clutter.
Yeah.
Because clutter just makes you feel chaotic.
Yes.
And that's the worst feeling.
Disorganised.
Can't find anything,
Yeah.
you know. I want my things around me. I want to be able to find things, but I just don't really think clutter is a good idea. It leads to chaos. We have busy lives. You've got children, haven't you?
Yes.
I've got teenagers with loads of shoes by the door, you know, but put them away. Let's have a bit of order.
I think that's definitely something in our house. We have a lot of arts and crafts. We have a lot of things that we're always making. It's about finding that space to put them. You don't want to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So how are we going to approach this?
Well, look, the coffee table is a typical example, isn't it, where everything just gets dumped. I've got my magazines, I've got a bit of work, I've got my candles as well.
Oh, these are classics. We just need the car keys and the phone.
I know, absolutely. And so what I was thinking, I've got this lovely rattan basket, and I have a lot of these in my house, and they're really useful just for putting things in. And, you know, just choose some nice colours, choose some different fabrics, and then, you know, just put them in there. You know where they are. You're not hiding everything away. So when I do want my magazine, I'm not having to go hunting upstairs, but I've just got this to hand and I can put all the rubbish in there.
It makes quite a difference, doesn't it? When you see visually it looking a little clearer. For me, I always find that that feels like my mindset feels a bit more freed up as well.
Yes, I agree. And I think just that feeling when you're at home, the well-being for me comes from not feeling stressed and over busy and overstimulated. And I think if you've got a cluttered surface, that can overstimulate you somehow. You know, we've got all these candles out here. I love fragrance at home, but we don't need all of these candles.
There's a lot. I did think that's a lot of candles
away.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but how do you choose? Because there's such a selection out there, isn't there? And I love candles. But actually, to be honest with you, I don't like a lot of candles because my kids are still quite young.
Yes.
So when I do, I have to, you know, I have to choose the ones that I want. Choose your moments, really.
I agree. I think you
good.
can't be opening your windows and having really lovely fresh air into the house. But obviously you can't do that all the time.
Yes.
And I also like to change the mood with home fragrance.
How do you do that?
So for me, for that well-being feeling, I work at home quite a lot.
Yes.
So I might have quite a motivational candle on during the day.
What's a motivational
Well, for
candle?
me, that's something like lime and basil because it's really fresh and it just motivates me throughout the day. But then when 4 or 5 o'clock comes and I just want to feel a little bit more relaxed, I get something like lavender or chamomile. I've got here one of the ice cream tea, and this is a favourite of mine. That's why I brought it in, because it just smells really relaxing.
It's very refreshing. Do you know, it's funny, you say about relaxing around 5 o'clock. That's exactly the time where we need to be going up a gear in our
well, that's because you have the little ones, don't you? Of course, So I really understand that. So, you know, you may have all your candles left out, and then it just leads to that feeling of, messiness.
Yes.
And the more you leave it, the harder it gets. And what I love about the idea of clearing up, you know, the lovely thing is, it doesn't cost a thing.
No.
We've already setting our foundation to then bring in some really lovely pieces that we love.
Should we pop these down here? Now, what? Oh, and more books. There we go. And that's actually, you can't even see all that mess in there. So now we've got a lovely big open space, but let's talk about that space. Is it too open?
Yeah, well, for me, I would like to see something decorative on here. And I think you know my love of flowers. I'm always in the garden. Something that brings me joy and really enhances my well-being is going outside and I just see what's there. I pick what's there and bring it in. I haven't got a huge garden. You know, you don't need a massive, great space, but just pick some leaves, some foliage, you know, and it's really quite easy. I have hydrangeas. Lots of people I know have hydrangeas in their gardens.
Wow.
You know, and I just have these big bushes of hydrangeas that are beautiful. I picked some leaves from the trees and I've put it in one of my favourite vases. As you know, I love the neutrals, so I've chosen a lovely cream neutral vase. You know, lots of my vases are either glass or neutral, but you could go for a beautiful coloured vase, couldn't you? And that would really set off the white. So
this is an impressive size. It looks great. If we found that was too big for the table, where else would you put it?
Well, I would have this maybe in the hallway. You know, I love flowers greeting you in the hallway, or I'd have it on a kitchen island. I mean, I've done it big to sort of give you an idea of what you can achieve.
The scale.
But you can pare that down. You could just have 3 in a smaller vase. But look, I'm just using the olive the leaves from the olive trees that look really lovely. I put these in my fireplace and they look really gorgeous.
So you can have it. See, I love that. I think that gives a lovely sort of framing as well. And I enjoy maybe it's to do with symmetry. Can we talk a bit about that as well? Where we bring symmetry into placement, because I always hear these things about having designers putting things in sets of 3s.
Yes.
Why is that we do that and not a 4?
Well, it is the symmetry, as you say, and a lot of designers do that. They prefer that. But there's no set rule. But I think your eye is drawn. You're drawn to the middle one, and then it comes out to the 2 on either side.
Yes.
Or that little cluster of 3 looks really lovely. And I just wanted to say, have a smell. I put some rosemary in the flowers.
Oh, I love rosemary.
And again, fragrance for well-being. You know, put a few sticks of rosemary in a vase, and it smells wonderful in the house.
And there's something really grounding about that as well. I love that you can bring nature in and it feels that it's you're living in your space. It's not just about always having beautiful aesthetics. Sometimes it's about getting the sense of nature in a little bit. I could have that all day, that smell.
You know, so that's a lovely idea to have that in your sitting room, and then you don't even need any of the artificial fragrances. You can just bring in your own. And for me, that uplifts me and makes me feel good. This is something that I think is really important to have in your sitting room.
Isn't it? Yeah.
You know, a sort of heirloom rug, maybe, or a throw, maybe something that's, you know, like a comfort blanket. Do you remember, you know, your children probably had a comfort blanket?
They've got they're still very much into having all the soft toys. So it's us and the soft toys often come in for our movie nights.
Yeah, that's really lovely.
And lots of throws as well.
Yeah, but you know, when I'm sitting on the sofa and it's a little bit chilly, even when it isn't, I just love to wrap up in a rug and my daughter will sit on the other side, you know, and we'll just sit together, and it's a lovely sense of being together. It feels really, you know, just together, and it makes me feel good. And I know she says, Mum, that's so soft. I love the feel of that, you know. So it's about how tactile things are in your home as well that feel lovely. And as I say, for me, like an heirloom piece that maybe someone's given to you, or it's been handed down, or it's a special piece, they're the things to have around.
So, but choosing things with purpose as well.
Yes. Yeah, we've talked about that, haven't we?
You and I have, and I love that phrase, actually. I've really hung on to it. So we've seen a little bit of how you would create your space. And so I'd love to have a go at adding into that as well. So there's so much of your style, all of your style I love. But it's so important that you make your space yours. And you and I have talked a lot in the past about how our styles are actually very similar in many ways.
Yes.
But I also love bright colours. And at home, our house is a real fiesta in many ways. But there has a flow. It's not just random. So I'm going to add in a couple of little plants as well, and items that I really wanted to bring into it. So do you know what? I'm going to start off first of all with some of the cushions that I'm going to add in. So I'm adding some of this to yours actually, Karen, opposed to like taking all yours out.
That's okay.
I'm putting mine in. So I'd probably switch these around and have that a little bit.
Yeah, that's lovely.
So it's just adding in that bit of colour and then putting the plainer side there. I actually love the waffle, but knowing my house, and of course I'm thinking about my kids, I'm thinking about how they dive onto the sofa. You know, there's always a bit of a discussion, let's say, about who's getting the rugs and who's... But perhaps you could help me with this. How do you display a rug without it looking messy?
A lot of people ask that, and people have very different ideas. Some people will fold and drape it over the arm of the sofa. Other people like to just more or less, you know, just that little... Yeah, that's the idea. It's a
See,
throw.
that bothers me.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan.
That makes me feel messy again.
Yes, me too.
So can we go back to
so, you know, I placed mine very carefully on there, which is more,
I love that.
Yes, which is more of what I would do.
That actually feels much more comfortable. So Karen's going to put hers, my idea, in the sort of cosy way. And I'm going to bring in faux candles. Now, lighting is a massive thing for me in our house. It's really important that how it looks, how it feels. From the minute I come in a room, I can't bear a room that's just got a bare light bulb on. It's something that feels like a physical reaction.
Yes.
My partner's always saying, oh, you and the lighting. But actually, as soon as that happens, you know, the change in lighting, then there becomes like the atmosphere, the calm as well. So I've gone for faux candles, and I love a faux candles. but a lot is to do with my children.
Yes.
So I tend not to light candles because they're little and I don't want them going near it. And I just really love to have that grounded, more natural colours in many ways, the coral and the sage, or the dark fern coloured.
Yes.
I found that felt calming for me, even though it is bringing those colours in.
Yes.
So already I'm seeing probably a bit more of my home here.
We are. We're seeing more colour, aren't we? And layering. I think you're very good at the layering. So that's what you've done here.
Do you know, it's interesting. I layer in my clothing a lot, and I always have. Oh, we've also got a rug that I want to add. So actually, we're going to pop that in just now. It's an immediate impact with the colour as well. So I really wanted to bring this in because it's comfortable. I know that in our house, it's going to feel really nice. Would you take a rug up to the sofa edge, though?
Yes, I would always put the feet of the sofa onto the rug.
I'm going to bring in some faux plants because it's not always easy for us all to get real plants.
Yeah, I agree.
And also, I really enjoy the world of faux plants, if I'm honest with you. I think that they can add a lot of joy and colour.
I think the joy of faux plants now, they are so much better than they used to be. The way they are made, they look very realistic. They're not as plasticky. You know, they really do look as though they're real.
Yeah.
And quite often they'll come in a lovely pot, something quite simple. They look like they have mud at the bottom, which I really like.
Yes.
If I'm going to have a faux plant, I want it to look realistic. And
so
I think these do.
Add these
They're lovely.
You.
All the greenery is so lovely to bring in.
So whilst this might be, you know, for some people might go, oh, that's an awful lot. For me, quite honestly, for me, I'm not sure, would I put this here or maybe...
Would this be more how your room would be set up at home? Would you have more cushions and the throws? You know, lots of pieces that you love, that bring you joy.
They would be. And I think that this is I love to be surrounded by plants.
Yes.
So, I mean, maybe I might move these around slightly. Maybe the bird of paradise.
This one could go towards the back, couldn't
perhaps that could go, or perhaps even on the table if that was...
You could do that, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Again, it's quite a bright piece, isn't it? You might be having a party or people over, so you might put that there and then you can move it again, can't you? You know.
And it's, you know, immediately, it's funny, isn't it, how colour, actually, maybe we'll pop that down. Do you know, I think that for me, having colour and light is so important. And that's why I've gone for these particular colours. They feel grounded and they feel warm. But if we wanted to match up colours, how do we do that? How do we match up colour and print or pattern? Like, where do you start with that?
I mean, you know, if you really are going to see an interior designer, they'll do a mood board for you.
Right.
But I sort of do my own little mood boards at home.
How do you do that?
So really, it's layering. So I'll pick my base colour, which often for me will be a grey or a cream or something very neutral. And then I will add a darker grey or a darker cream. Then I might add, you know, quite a soft tonal pink, because that's my sort of colour. So I just layer as I go along. I would never have a huge pop of green or a huge pop of blue. That's not my style. But perhaps for you...
It is.
You know, what do you think your base colour would be? What would you put maybe on your walls?
It's so interesting. I love that question. It would be green. I am so drawn to green. I know it is known for having that sort of the calming look. It is. But before I think I really understood that, oh my word, I mean, our living room is dark forest green, every wall. Then comes that our kitchen is, our current kitchen cupboards are almost like this colour, sort of a sage eucalyptus. The hallway is a different version of a sort of woody green. So I'm really drawn to green. And I think that's where I went.
This is where all the plants are coming from. You're feeling in this setting, my very neutral setting. It's so interesting that you've brought in all those greens, because they're the colours that you love. And interiors, and, you know, we're talking about living well in our homes. It's so important that you choose what you want. You know, we all read the magazines and then you start to think, oh, I'm not following the trend or whatever. It's nonsense. In my view, it's very much about what you love, what you like, what you've collected. Maybe a gift from somebody. And for you, it's your greens that's bringing your nature in.
So we've done some great work here. Now, we're not finished, though. we've still got the bedroom to do. And the bedroom I'm looking forward to, because the bedroom, I think, can be a place where a lot of us either have a very tranquil place or it becomes the chair wardrobe.
I agree.
So we're going to have a little look at that right now. Should we go over?
Yeah, let's go over.
Okay. I would love to know how we create a space that feels inviting, feels like somewhere that you want to spend time at the end of the day rather than you just getting into bed and then getting back out again. So how do we do that?
Yeah, well, it's really important to have a comfortable bed.
Yeah.
But your bed linen is really important.
Okay.
I love to have 100% cotton bed linen because that is breathable and it's warm in the winter and cooler in the summer. So you're not having to change your bedding lots of times. So for me, that's really important. Not being over hot or over cold. And again, for me, the colours, as you can see, I've put on this bed, this beautiful silver grey with cream. For me, that brings me calm. It's not over busy. It's just a very lovely, calm experience when I come to bed. It's calm.
So in terms of colours, grey for you or grey silver is a calming one. Is that one of the sort of base colours that you would have, or what would be? We talked earlier about a mood board and colours for the room. How would you start your mood board?
Grey for me would be quite a base colour. I might even have grey walls, and then the way I bring it to life is to layer it.
Now we're back to throws and rugs. This feels different. What was the reason that you went for this? It feels
I like this again. It feels a little bit handmade. It looks a little bit crocheted.
Something you might have as a child.
Exactly. So that's what I like. And I would just have that draped on the end of the bed. You know, you could put it in the middle, you can put it at the other end. But for me, I like a very simple drape at the end of the bed.
Is there a difference? Is there a design thought behind having the throw at different sections of the bed? Because I see that sometimes in the middle, sometimes 3/4. What's the reasoning behind that?
I think that's really the look that you're going for. You know, we see with our Kelly Hoppen, don't we? Again, somebody I love to watch because of the colours. You know, then you have the taupe, you have the white, you have the silver. So it's all those lovely tones, and it makes it very tonal.
And it is your space as well. So experiment with it. You know, it might not be the way that we feel most comfortable with a sort of messy throw, but what does that look like? Let's have a little look and see how you do that design or
I'm
messy
like you.
throw.
I would not be very happy having it. I know some people love that, and it's really important. If you love the drape, you have the drape. Same with your bedding. If you love colourful bedding, that's great. Why not go for that? I'm wondering, what sort of colour would you go for?
Well, I go for bright colours a lot of the time, but in the bedroom, I tend to go for those calmer colours as well. So we have a blue, we have a really nice rich blue, and also no clutter.
Well,
so let's talk about the top
bedside
end.
tables. Oh my goodness, they are a real bugbear of mine. They're always too small for one thing. You can't fit everything on there. So what I do, I got a little basket, and I put all my bits on. So just on there, you've got books, you've got hand cream, you've got your cup of tea. And so what I would do is clear that, because when I would go to bed, I don't want clutter. I don't want my phone at the side of my bed. You know, I just want to feel the space is lovely and clear. So you could put that on the end of the bed.
If you didn't have this sort of bank at the bottom of the bed, I guess you might have drawers on the bedside.
Yeah, you might have a bedside table or a dressing table that you can put them on.
Now, I feel compelled to straighten these books up.
Now, interesting.
Now, what would you do?
Now, I like to see them.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah, I would have them just a little bit skewed as they are.
At an angle.
With my glasses on the top. To me, that just looks a little bit more traditional. I love books around the house. I think it gives you quite a traditional feel. So I'll always have, maybe I'm not reading them, but they look really nice.
You like to look as if you're reading them. Isn't that interesting?
It's a lovely design aesthetic. You might do that in your sitting room as well. Just pile a few books and put a plant on or something.
I think we have lots of colouring books.
Yes.
And pots of crayons.
Too, having your children's bits and bobs. I've also been in the garden again, couldn't resist. Just a little bit of foliage by the side.
And a bit and a colour as well. As I love how the lamps and the foliage have a theme. Was that by choice?
No, that was deliberate. Yes, and the lamps are
deliberate
because the lamps, I don't want overhead lighting. I want to come in my bedroom and feel lovely, soft glow lighting. And these are really easy to pop on just underneath. No cord either. So if you haven't got plugs at the side of your bed, you can still have that little bedside light if you're reading.
Because you see some people have the lights that are fixed to the walls as well. I rather like those those
They're
two,
lovely.
especially if you've got a smaller bedside table. But essentially, we are talking about decluttering, a little bit of colour,
a little bit of layering, a bit of colouring as well. Comfortable pillows. Make sure you've got a really lovely, comfortable pillow. I think that's very important for your wellness. And I've also created a little nook over there.
Ah, what would you do with this?
You don't always come into your bedroom just to sleep. So you might want to come in and read, or perhaps for you when you've got busy time, busy children outside, you're just going off for a little 20 minutes to yourself. So have a little chair in the corner.
20 minutes to myself. I'm not sure I'm familiar with that.
Well, maybe you could make that work. Everybody knows mum's going to have a little break.
Yeah.
You know, and you can let the fresh air in, open your window. I've put a real plant at your side there because plants really purify the air, and I love to have a real plant in the bedroom. I think it's a really nice touch, and it adds that bit of green that you love.
It's a really good... Do you know what? I hadn't actually thought about real plants for the aspect of them purifying the air.
Yes.
I'm going to take that with me. I really like that idea.
Really good for you to have. You often see them in bathrooms. So really important.
Yeah.
And also the other thing we've talked about is fragrance in the bedroom. It's really important to have a lovely, calming ambience. It's the atmosphere. It's the whole thing. When you come in, you want it to feel lovely.
And actually, are there any fragrances that you think lend themselves more to bedroom? Because we talked before about lime and basil being uplifting. You like to light something like that towards the end of the day. How do we choose a bedroom fragrance?
I'd go for lavender. I mean, I always love lavender. But you also have candles that are specifically for the evening. So I'd go for something much lighter, not too heavy.
Yes.
You can go for pillow sprays. I don't know if you've seen pillow sprays.
I love a pillow spray.
Me too.
Actually, I always think that that's quite a nice touch.
And it promotes sleep, doesn't it? You want to be thinking about sleeping. You know, I might put a little bit of magnesium hand cream on my hands and on my feet. Again, all things that promote really good sleep. It's so important to get your 8 hours.
And the way something feels as well on your skin is so important. I love that you mentioned about cotton. We've had a lovely snapshot here of being able to see how you've tidied up. You've then added in your own colours. And what's important for you, actually.
Yeah.
So it was important for you. I found that really interesting, having the books at an angle, and I felt compelled to tighten them up. So with that, I'm actually going to have a go now at showing you how I would
I'd love to see what you're going to bring in, and I'm sure I'll pick up some tips from you.
Yeah, well, let's have a little look. Okay, well, we're going to start with the bedding. So I'm going to pop these over onto the chair. Now, again, I think that a lot of what you have brought in is what I would also have.
Yes.
It's not that I would necessarily always go for huge, bright colours, but I am, in this particular case, going to go for something that is that bit brighter. I find that, you know, when I go into my bedroom, when I've got a bright duvet, I really get that immediate uplift. I feel quite excited to go into the room and see what I've put on. And sometimes I forget that I've put on that bright duvet. I'll pop this one behind here. When I put it on the day before, and then I come in and think, oh, this looks nice. I always find that for me in our house, when I have done our bedroom, I like the feeling of it being a bit like a hotel.
I agree.
Do you know?
There's something lovely about that, isn't there?
There really is. Right, to me, to you,
and
that's
the difference, a big pop of colour in your bedroom will make. I mean, already that's looking so bright, isn't it? And sunny. Already, I love that.
Let's pull that down. See, that's back to our precision, Karen.
Yes, we want this to look neat. I don't want any ends sticking out because that will annoy me. There we are. So nice and neat. Just give it a good spread over.
Now, I hear a lot about cushion placement. I've never thought about cushions so much in my life than I have at the moment. So some people, I want to discuss this. Now, this, like this. Or, hang on, I've got to get my other cushions to show you. See, I'm a cushion fan. I love
Do you have a lot of cushions in your home?
I don't go crazy because my partner's less of a cushion fan. But I want to just get your take on this.
Yes.
So either this could be a little look, or or do people have it like this, or is it flat? what is the current thinking on cushions?
Well, again, different configurations. It depends what you like.
Yes.
I don't like to use Oxford pillowcases for this sort of thing because they flop down and you can never keep them upright. So these are actually better because I like a nice straight line. So already, look, you've lifted that.
Yes,
it looks better already.
I like this.
And you need good plump cushions if you're going to be doing that as well. I would have two. So
you get a bit of a bigger bank.
Absolutely. Or you could have bigger cushion at the back and then you come down, you know, you graduate your cushions as you're coming down.
Yes.
So lots of ways. You could have one in the middle. You could have a bolster cushion that goes along.
The bolster
cushions are very popular in the bedroom.
I have quite a few bolster cushions
they're
at
lovely.
Home. Now, I love this. You know, it's soft. It's so soft and tactile. And we talked a lot about the comfort and texture. When I feel that, it reminds me of my children, actually. It reminds me of the younger blanket.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
You know, and it feels beautiful. Now, whilst I might not sleep in it, I definitely, I'm trying to decide how I would like to have this. I think I'm going to go for that.
Yeah.
Or across the middle this time.
You could try it in the middle, couldn't you? That would
try that look that we talked about before.
Yep. And you've got that lovely fringe as well for a little bit of detail if you want to keep that going. But look how you were talking about pattern earlier, weren't you?
Yes.
And we've got everything plain and then suddenly we bring in our throw.
Fringes.
We bring in our cushion with your pattern and how different. That has really elevated the whole bedroom, hasn't it? It looks like a different room.
And it's interesting. I go for the sense of comfort. I love the colour. It's really important to me to have that feeling cosy as well.
Oh, yes.
But I don't like messy cosy.
No.
So whilst I bring in colour and I bring in different dimensions and textiles and textures, I still want it to feel neat.
Yes.
I still want that sense of organisation.
Yeah, and I think you've done that. I think you've really made that neat. Although we've brought in colour, we've brought in pattern, we've brought in more texture. But now, we were talking earlier about decorative pieces as well, and I know you love your decorative objects too.
I do. So this one, I want to change the lighting on here because I do like your pink. But if I pop that one over there, I do want to tie in with, and you know, we said about my base colour being sage or being green. I've also added, and Karen, I'm really sorry, I'm going to have to move your books.
No.
So as much as I love them, I might pop them down here so that we can, there, look as if you're reading them down there. And Karen, could you please move your flower off there and replace it with a fish?
Oh, now, these are glamorous, aren't they?
Not a statement you say every day. But I actually really wanted to add in character. So our home is quirky.
Yeah, that's very quirky.
Let me have a little look here. There we go. So, but it's very much about my own personality and how we build stories. When my partner and I were designing our house, we wanted the rooms to feel like they were telling a story. Yeah. So one of our rooms, we've got fish on the wallpaper, you know, and it's got bright jewel colours. Another room is much calmer. Another's deep green with a bright orange sofa. So really sort of, but coming back to your point, and I love that you said this, is about having purpose.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about that, please?
It's really important, I think, having purpose in your rooms. Why are you putting something where it is? What is it you're putting where it is? You know, and we can all go out and just keep buying bits and pieces that we like,
I've done that myself
that
so
we
many
love.
times.
Me too. I've got so many bits and bobs. But actually, what do I really want to have on my bedside table? I do want to have my book. I do want to have some flowers from my garden. For me, that's what I would like. So what is it for you? Perhaps you do want your decorative piece because it brings you joy when you look at it.
Yes.
So that's what we're talking here, isn't it? About what brings you personally joy. Might be a photograph of somebody, you know, it could be cards, whatever it means to you. And it doesn't have to cost a lot, I would say.
And pictures. I always find pictures, we see lots of trends of putting many pictures, different angles, and I really like that. But funnily enough, sometimes I can feel quite overwhelmed with too many pictures.
Yes.
So in a bedroom, where do you think the pictures could go? Not should, but could go.
In my bedroom, I don't have a high headboard. So I have I have 4 pictures over there. Yeah. And then I have a mirror a lovely, beautiful, a beautiful mirror on the wall. That's it's a grey colour like my walls.
Yes.
But what I love about it, it really reflects the light. So if you're somebody who likes to light your candle at night or have a small lamp, it will really reflect and give your room such a lovely glow.
Where do you put a mirror in the room? Where's the placement to get that to make the room look and feel bigger?
Yeah, for me, I have mine over my chest of drawers. Okay. So, and I have it really low, almost sitting on it. I like to see mirrors freestanding as well. Yes. I do think that's a nice look as well. Yeah. But I think mirrors in the bedroom, you do need to have your mirrors in the bedroom, but they also do add that ambience as well. And you know, that mercury glass that we're all really keen on.
I do.
You know, that gives you just a softer feeling rather than just a bare sort of mirror.
Absolutely.
And if you can have a lovely frame, yours might be in your green that you love, you know, or you might like bamboo, or you know, you might like silver, or just a different colour. Choose something that you love.
That antique mirror, now you got me thinking.
Yeah, they're beautiful,
very
aren't they?
Nice. Oh, Karen, this has been wonderful. I've really enjoyed also seeing how we have evolved our styles and changed and adapted. And again, it is always coming back to choosing how you want it to be. Well, thank you. This has been absolutely wonderful. I can't stop touching this. It's so soft.
It's lovely, isn't it?
So as you can see, again, we have looked at how to change your space, but it comes down to you choosing what works for you, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel comfortable and want to come back into that space again and again. And in this case, waking up in that space as well. Creating calm at home. That's what we've been talking about in this episode. Thank you so much, Karen, for joining us today. And thank you for watching here on the QVC YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment below.